the English Literature and Creative Writing Department at Lancaster University. In these episodes, you'll get to know our students and their experiences studying at our department.
My name's Ruth. I have just graduated in English Literature and I'm going on to do an MA in Literary Studies in September. I'm really excited. And I'm originally from kind of Preston way, so I'm not that far away from Lancaster, kind of 20 minutes in the car. I used to work at ITV and obviously kind of celebrities kind of came and went, and I once shared some cake with Peter Andre. I kind of went on a bit of a long journey getting to university. So I left school after I'd finished my GCSEs when I was 16. And like I mentioned, I worked at ITV. I went and did an apprenticeship there. So I was, to be honest, heading for like an industry route quite early on. And then I decided to come back and do my A-levels when I was 17 at the end of my apprenticeship, because that was the last year I could do it for free within kind of the education system without having to go to night school. So I went, okay, I'll go get my A-levels and then I'll go straight back to work. And then while I was doing my A-levels that I started to discover how much I really loved my subjects at that kind of level of study, and in particular English. So it was from there that I kind of went, yeah, I want to actually go to uni. I want to do more of this. I think uni was always kind of on the cards, but it was more of like maybe when like I'm 30 and I don't know, I will go to like the Open University. It wasn't something that was particularly in my head. My degree itself fundamentally has taught me how to write and write well, which is so important. I think like you forget how much of the world is communication, whether it's writing emails or blog posts, news articles, or the books we read, card greetings. Like there's so much of the world that's about writing and literature in one form or another. So I think actually having the industry experience that kind of gives me a practical application for those skills that I've learned throughout my degree is really important, because you can see the connection between being able to write and write well and then being able to turn that into effective communication in whatever field that you're in. So I've just started an internship in copywriting, which is writing blog posts and product descriptions and all manner of things for different clients and companies. But equally, I've worked in journalism before, so writing stories in that way is another kind of skill that I think my degree has really helped me hone. English literature is so employable because it doesn't teach you kind of one specific thing. It teaches you a transferable skill set that you can take into whatever you want to do. And whether that means that, you might have to do a postgrad. So if you want to do teaching, then you'll need a teaching qualification with it. But the skills that it gives you to be able to read and analyse texts and really understand what people are saying, not just on the surface, but at different levels and different perspectives, and being able to turn that communication again into something that is useful in the real world. There are so many career options. On the note of kind of what to do while you're studying, and if you're interested in English literature but you're not sure, my best advice is just to keep reading, and read things that you enjoy, not necessarily things that are just on the course, but find things that you wouldn't typically read or pick up as well. Try and expand what you would normally choose to read and see if you enjoy it, because if you enjoy reading and if you enjoy literature, then it's definitely the degree for you. I think right now I can see myself in a research field, whether that's kind of going from master's, PhD and into my own research, or working for there are big organisations that do research in the humanities, helping communities and kind of having a practical application that way. But equally, looking at the way that careers are working nowadays, it's far less, you pick a job at 20, 25 and then that's it for the next 40 years. It's far more flexible. So I can't say that I will definitely be doing what I think I'm going to be doing for like the next 5 years for the rest of my life. I mean, it comes back to that transferable skills, I guess, that whatever you do, it's about the skills that you can take between each job, and people coming up to you and saying, could you do this? And you going, yes, of course, let's see what I can make of it. So I'm quite excited. There's so much to do. When I was kind of looking at the reading list coming into my degree, I was almost quite disheartened by the main core module, because that is quite canonical and it had a lot of stuff on it that if I'd not already read, which a lot of it I was familiar with, whereas world literature was full of things that I didn't know, and that was really, really exciting. And I discovered so many things through that module that I never would have anticipated liking. I think graphic novels is certainly up there as a genre that I absolutely love now, but never would have considered reading before world literature. And yeah, the second one that I choose kind of stems out of that, on that kind of broadening of my understanding of what actually counts as literature. I then took a module in my third year called Literature and the Visual Arts, run by the wonderful Andy Tate. That really pushed kind of not just what literature does, but how it interacts with other art forms. And I got to write a really weird and wonderful essay about Instagram and Instagram poetry, and how photography and poetry were integrating in the world of social media. And there was just so much in that again, I never would have considered writing before, but I found so interesting and fascinating. Yeah, I never would have thought turning Instagram into an academic study would be possible, but so something outside of my degree that I do a lot has to be SCAN, which stands for Student Comment and News. It's the university's student newspaper, which is run by students and supported by the Students' Union. I have been involved in SCAN kind of from my first day, really. One of our Part 1 mentors in my first year was a section editor at the time, and kind of got me into it. So yeah, I was arts and culture editor for a year and ran that section, and then I was elected as the editor and ran the whole paper for a year. So I managed a team of 18 editors and then writing group of over 70. And we created some really, really interesting content, broke some really big news stories that year. Yeah, it's been a huge part of my university experience. I've had lifelong friends come out of it that I never would have anticipated being friends with at the start. Yeah, they are a fantastic group, all the student media groups. And yeah, I wouldn't trade any of that for the world. I now have like a massive writing portfolio that has been fantastic for employers as well. Yeah, it's been really, really interesting. I think something I had to adjust to was communal living. Yeah, I think it's definitely potluck who you get is your kind of flatmates. I know some unis try and kind of partner you up with similar people. Learning to get along with people that you don't know and have nothing in common with is definitely a life skill that you take forwards. Learning how to be really, really tidy within a kitchen because you've only got a really small space, again, are like skills that you never think you need but are really handy. And living off of small food budgets and, again, budgeting, all of those things like independent living are so important. And yeah, definitely things that I'm now taking forward in kind of graduating and looking for, you know, whatever's coming next. Like, they prepare you really, really well. The Literary Lancashire Award, I'll tell the full story. So my wonderful yet slightly crazy friend Lara Orris came to me after a creative writing lecture one day. So she came out of a creative writing lecture and said, "Ruth, I've had a crazy idea." And I went, "Oh no, what's happened?" And she said, "I want to start a creative writing competition," because we just had a lecture and it said that it's really hard to get published if you haven't got accolades. But then I looked up accolades for young writers and there aren't really that many and they're not very accessible. So let's make one. And she came to me because I was part of SCAN at the time and we thought we'd do it through SCAN. But it very, very quickly grew into not just a creative writing competition, but a community outreach program as well, and kind of became a whole thing on its own. I had experience in organising events, so Lara kind of came to me to help organise it. And then within 6 months, we had over £3,000 worth of funding. We had a published anthology of the shortlisters and the winners, and we had a really amazing awards ceremony at our local Waterstones bookshop. And yeah, it was just an incredible project. We went on Radio Lancashire to talk about it. It was a whole thing. It took up like the whole year, and now it's still running, even though me and Lara as co-founders aren't really involved in the organising it anymore, because one of the competition winners said I got so much out of this. And so Daniel Findel, he is now running the competition as one of the co-heads. So yeah, it's kind of become a whole thing of its own, but I think it just goes to show how supportive Lancaster is as a culture for letting people run with ideas like this. Like, we never would have been able to do it without the Lancaster Friends funding or the Duchy of Lancaster's funding, without the support of Owen Walls, who's one of the creative writing lecturers in the department. In fact, when we went to see him about it, it was only a small idea, and we walked out of the office and it was a full-blown life-size project. Yeah, and they helped us judge the competition. They've now started part funding it, I think, this year as well, to help the competition remain free and open to all. Yeah, it's a fantastic project, and I'm so proud looking at what it's been doing this year as well. So definitely go check them out. I know, kind of on the down low, but they've now got a publishing deal with a local publishing house, and they're going to help sell the ebook of the anthology. So it's, you know, it's gone from such a small little competition to now the winners from last year are being published and the actual anthology is being published, and we're actually doing the thing we set out to do. So yeah, it's very, very exciting. The reason I love Lancaster as a department is the fact that I'm not treated as a student so much. I'm more treated as a colleague by the other lecturers, the other staff members. So things like, you know, if you run into them outside of class, it's not like a teacher-student relationship. It's, you have casual chats with them. The fact they have open office hours means that you just have one-on-one chats with them and start talking about topics you're both really passionate about. And I think that creates a really nice academic community where you can freely kind of share ideas and all be enthusiastic about the things that you love.
If you want to know more about the department, please check out our website at www.lancaster.ac.uk. Look there for the Department of English, Literature and Creative Writing. You can also follow us on social media. We would love to hear from you.